welcome to Tammy Talk TV, where we share ways to live with purpose, passion, and perseverance. Today we're going to talk about how to withdraw from a difficult situation because it's Reverse Q&A Thursday. And you know what that means. Every Thursday I come to you with a question and I ask you to contribute tips, tools, and techniques to help each other out. Then the following Thursday I return to you and tell you everything I know about the subject at hand. Since I don't know everything, I highlight those tips, tools, and techniques that have come in from around our social circle. But first, a quick programming note. If you're watching this Reverse Q&A as part of the Everyday Vacay Cyber Seminar series, just be aware that these Reverse Q&As are part of our public YouTube channel. So comments that you make here will be public, unlike the classroom videos in which the comments are contained to the classroom. Okay. So back to how to withdraw from a difficult situation. And the first thing to do when you realize that you need to withdraw from a situation is to act. Take action. Don't react. Don't be the victim of circumstance. Take action first. Because human nature is to simply ignore it and hope that it goes away. But it very rarely does. And the second thing that we tend to do is to make the other party so miserable that they withdraw first. And that makes us the victim. Don't be the victim of circumstance. Go ahead and take action. Whether it be a work situation and you just start doing such a horrible job and hope to get fired, or if you're in a relationship where you just make the other person so miserable that they retreat from you. That's the very worst thing that you can do. Go ahead, take action, and be the leader of your own life. Don't be the victim. And when you do that, you have to do it just like we were talking about saying no. You have to do it with no excuses and no apologies. Now, granted, when you withdraw from a difficult situation, very often we do have to give a reason for that withdrawal. But there's a difference between a reason and an excuse. To give you an example from my own life, when my oldest child was in elementary school, I was a member of the parent-teacher organization, and it was really a lot of work. So when I was pregnant with my second child, very pregnant, like 8 months or more, and I had swollen feet and indigestion, I was just miserable. And the president of the PTO called one afternoon and said to me, "We need you to bring 3 dozen cupcakes to an event tomorrow morning." Now this was in the early 1990s and we live in a very rural area in Northwest Florida. So I couldn't just bounce down to the local bakery and buy cupcakes. I had to actually produce 3 dozen cupcakes. And if you've never produced cupcakes, here's how that works. You have to make a cake batter and pour it into 3 dozen individual little cups, which is difficult by itself. Then you have to bake them and let them completely cool. After they're completely cool, you have to individually ice each one. Did I mention the swollen feet? So I produced those 3 dozen cupcakes and I took them to the event the next morning. And there I told the president of the PTO that I was simply not in a position to be an effective member of that group and I was going to have to withdraw. And then I shut my mouth. Do you know what she said? "No problem. Good luck with the baby." Now, I had dreaded that conversation all night, and she wasn't upset at all. She completely understood. So we very often simply make these things bigger than they have to be. So the next time you're presented with a difficult situation, just remember, act. Don't react. And when you do that, do it with no excuses and no apologies. And when it does create an uncomfortable silence, don't just endure that silence. Embrace that silence. Don't fill it with excuses and apologies. Embrace it because that's you being the leader in your own life. In that silence is where your authority lives. It's like our friend Jace Jacobs over at the Jar of Poetry channel says, just breathe through that uncomfortable silence. Because if you're paying attention to your breath, then it's much easier to be silent and let the other person process what you've had to say. And the way to do that is to practice in simple situations. So the next time you're at, say, a dinner party and you're ready to go, don't wait for someone else to leave first. Just say, "Okay, guys, gotta go. See you later." And leave it at that. No excuses, no apologies. And when we practice in these simple situations, then when a more serious circumstance arises, we're totally prepared. We know what it feels like because we've practiced. And on a side note, if you're a parent and you have children, teach this skill to them as early as possible, because the earlier you learn to say no or withdraw from a difficult situation, the more natural it becomes, and it is the antidote to peer pressure. Think about it. When someone asks them, hey, you want to smoke a cigarette? And they can say, no, no thank you. You want to skip school? No thank you. You want to take your mom's car for a joyride? No thank you. Because the earlier you learn to do it, the more natural it becomes. The less you have to practice, and the more it's just an ingrained skill. So if you have children, teach this to them as early as possible. And that way, it just comes naturally. And so there we have the way to withdraw from a difficult situation. First, you have to take action. Don't make the other person so miserable that they do it first, because that makes you a victim. So take action without excuses and without apologies. And practice it in simple situations so that when you're presented with a more serious circumstance, you're prepared. Okay, so as promised, I have another question for next week. And that is, how can I make a good first impression? Now, you can certainly drop your comments in the box below this video, but I know that on some streaming devices, you can't get to the comment box below this video. So simply go to TammyTalk.com, hit that social tab, choose your favorite social media network, and comment there. I'll come along Monday morning, collect all those tips, tools, and techniques from around the social circle, put them together, and return to you next Thursday with the answer. Okay, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more. And if you're just generally tired and frustrated, click the link below for a free cyber seminar that explores the causes and the cure. Okay, see you Thursday.